Hello, and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn some confusing words, so let's get started. First, we're going to talk about the difference between any and none. If I have three or more things, I use any for the question and any for the negative. Example, do you like any of these? And you could say, no, I don't like any of those. Or I don't like any of them. But if I ask, which one is healthy? What do you say? No one? We cannot say no one of them is healthy. Why? No one is a person. Anyone for question and no one for the negative, talking about a person. Example, is anyone behind me? Talking about a person. Is anyone behind me? No, no one is behind me. That's referring to a person. But we're not talking about a person here. So we use the word none. None of them are healthy. So again, the question, do you like any of them? You say, no, I don't like any of them. Which one is healthy? None of them are healthy, because you have three or more things. Let's practice. So we have Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, and Diet Dr. Pepper. Which one do you like? That's right, I don't like any of them. Let's practice the question. Ask me if I like any of them. No, I don't like any of them. Let's practice with none. Which one is healthy? That's right, none of them are healthy. And what if we have two? We have two options. In this case, it's different. We have to use either and neither when you have two options. So keep watching to learn how to use either and neither referring to two objects. And watch until the very end to practice with either and neither talking about me either or me neither, a different situation. Keep watching to practice with both situations because they're different and confusing. Now let's talk about either. First, pronunciation. Can I say either? You can, but I don't recommend it. It's more common in America to say either. Either sounds more British. Also, you might get confused. If you start saying either, like either one of them, you might say me either, and we can't say that. So just say either. For me either, or either one of them. Use the same pronunciation, either. So, I have two examples. I can say either is acceptable, but it's more common to hear either one. Either one is acceptable. I use the verb is because this one is acceptable or that one is acceptable. Either one is acceptable. I'm not talking about both of them. I'm talking about one or the other. That's why I use the word either. Either one is acceptable. What if I say either of them? Either one of them. Then can I say either one of them are acceptable? You can, but technically you're not supposed to. It's considered informal or incorrect, depending on who you talk to. You're supposed to use the singular verb is. Either one of them is acceptable. You're always supposed to use is with either. Let's practice. Is either one acceptable? That's right, either one is acceptable. Is either one of them acceptable? That's right, either one of them is acceptable. Now let's talk about either and neither. What people normally teach is either is for a question or a positive structure, and neither is for something negative. But it's more complicated than that. Let's ask a question. We have Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. Do you like either one? It means, do you like this one or that one? Do you like either one? And you could say, no, I don't like either one. We have to use either here with a negative because we cannot make a double negative. I cannot say I don't like neither one. We use either to avoid the double negative. So you say, I don't like either one. And if I ask the question, which one is healthy? You can say neither. Neither one is healthy. Not that one, not this one. Neither one is healthy. I use neither because I want to express a negative and the action is positive. That's when you use neither. Neither one is healthy. So I'll ask the question. Do you like either one? That's right, I don't like either one. And which one is healthy? That's right, neither one is healthy. And can I say neither one of them are healthy? You can, but technically you're not supposed to. You're supposed to use the singular verb is. Neither one of them is healthy. They're both bad for you. Now let's talk about me either and me neither. If you want to agree with a negative idea, you cannot say me too. If the first idea is negative, you respond with me either or me neither. Example, I don't have a car. Me either. It means I don't have a car either. Short, me either. If you look in a textbook, they say me neither is correct and me either is not correct. But in America, we use both. I prefer me either. I think it sounds better. But really, people say both. And the pronunciation? Some people say neither, and some people say neither. Some people say either, and some people say either. All of it is correct. Personally, I say either. I say me either. But it's all correct. So, what's the problem with me either? It's limited. It's only good for me. Me either. I cannot say him either, or her either, or them either. I can say you either to confirm you either, but I can't talk about other people saying him either or my friend either. So what do? We use a different structure. Example, I am not angry. He isn't either. So I have the person, he. I use the negative contraction, is not, together, isn't, plus either. He isn't either. And I cannot use neither in this case. You have to use either. He isn't either. Or you can say, neither is he. Neither in a question structure. He is, switch, is he. This way is more difficult. Neither is he. It's correct and very common, but it's more difficult. I recommend he isn't either. It's an easier structure. So again, I'm not angry. He isn't either. He's happy. So to agree with a negative idea, talking about other people, use the person, the negative helper, plus either. Example, I'm not going to the restaurant. They aren't either. I have the person, they, negative contraction, aren't, are not, together, aren't, they aren't, plus either. They aren't either. I'm not going to the restaurant, and they aren't either. You can say neither are they, but it's a more difficult structure. It's easier to say they aren't either. I'm not going to the restaurant, and they aren't either. If I use a simple verb like eat, negative, I don't eat meat. She doesn't either. I have the person she, I have the negative contraction doesn't, plus either. She doesn't either. I don't eat meat, and she doesn't either. I cannot say her either. I have to use a structure. 3 parts. She doesn't either. If I have more than one person, they don't either. Example, I don't eat meat, and they don't either. You have the person, they, plus the negative, don't, and either. They don't either. I don't eat meat, and they don't either. You can also say, neither do they, but it's a more difficult structure. If you're learning English, it's easier to use they don't either. I don't eat meat, and they don't either. If you talk about the past, you use a negative didn't. I didn't eat breakfast today. He didn't either. Or if you talk about a person, my friend. I didn't eat breakfast today, and my friend didn't either. You have the person, my friend, negative, didn't, plus either. My friend didn't either. So I didn't eat breakfast today, and my friend didn't either. Or I can say he. He didn't either. I didn't eat breakfast today, and he didn't either. I can't go to the party, and she can't either. You can say neither can she, but it's more difficult. Use the person, she, the negative, can't, plus either. She can't either. So example again, I can't go to the party tonight, and she can't either. Let's practice. I'm not going to the restaurant.
They aren't either.
I'm not going to the restaurant. Very good. Let's practice. I don't eat meat.
She doesn't either.
I don't eat meat. Very good. Let's practice with they. I don't eat meat.
They don't either.
I don't eat meat. Very good. Let's practice the past. I didn't eat breakfast this morning.
He didn't either.
I didn't eat breakfast this morning. Very good. Let's practice with can and negative can't. I can't go to the party tonight.
She can't either.
I can't go to the party tonight. Very good. So remember, if you agree with a positive idea, you say, me too. I'm happy.
Me too.
And if you agree with a negative idea, say, me either, or me neither. I don't speak French.
Me either.
And if you like this video, check out the links in the description to practice more. And keep on watching. Bye-bye.